Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kirsten and I have my blog and YouTube channel Curated by Kirsten, where I talk about things like sewing and art and knitting and kind of all the things I like doing to live a creative life. So earlier this summer, I started a stash busting summer challenge. Basically, I told myself I'm not going to buy any new fabric or yarn this summer and really just work with what I have. So far, that's been going pretty well. I've been in it for about a month and a half. And today I thought I would go through my yarn stash. Really, in my previous video, I talked a lot about my fabric stash and my fabric and sewing goals. But it's so much easier to get through sewing projects, in my opinion, because they kind of work up a little bit quicker. But my knitting stash, which has been growing since 2020, because I started really knitting in 2020. It's had a longer time to grow, and I also stopped knitting for a couple years. I shouldn't say stop knitting. I just really slowed down my knitting pace for a couple years. And now that I'm getting back into it, especially also having sewing and art as my other hobbies, it just takes a lot longer for me to get through a project now because I have more hobbies, which is great, but you know, got to allocate my time across more things. So I wanted to talk through my yarn stash and maybe some project ideas for things that I have in my stash, because I will say my style has definitely changed in the last 5 to 6 years, especially since I bought some of this yarn, and I feel like I now have some maybe better ideas, or I could find better ideas for what's in my stash. Also, if you see me talking weird at any point, I really bit my lip yesterday and there's like a little sore on the inside of my lip and I feel like I keep trying to avoid it, which is giving me this little lisp. So sorry about that. So I actually, since I live in a 1-bedroom apartment, I actually lease a storage unit on the same exact floor, which is super convenient. And it's kind of where I keep my off-season hobby stuff. I am gonna have to roll my little wagon out to my storage unit, pick up my yarn stash and bring it back into my apartment. Okay, I just pulled everything out of my storage unit. I will probably just go through project quantities of yarn, and then maybe I'll take a picture of all my leftover scraps from previous projects, because at some point I think I do want to do a scrappy yarn project, but I know I have so many scraps in this stash, and like usable scraps. It's not like we're talking about like a yard or two of yarn, but probably not enough to make like a full project. All right, so we are gonna start with the easier stuff that I've already kind of sectioned off. I do think that I might reorganize my yarn stash while I'm doing this. Like, it's a good opportunity for me to see what I have and what I might wanna make. So starting with the first box, there's 2 project quantities of yarn in this box. The first one is probably my favorite that I have in my stash right now. It is Noro yarns. This is Madara, and it is a 60% wool, 30% silk blend, 10% alpaca. It's a medium weight, and it's this beautiful pink color. I got it to make a sweater. I am so excited to use this yarn. I just have a couple projects I want to finish before I cast this one on. But yes, I definitely have a project quantity of this yarn, and it's just beautiful. I love the color. I feel like I avoided pink for a really long time, and now as I'm an adult, I want to make more and more things with pink. And I saw this in a yarn shop in Portland, Oregon, and I was like, yep, that is coming home with me. All right, the next thing in this box is, let's see, it's Knit Picks. It's kind of like this airy yarn. It's kind of like Drops Air. Knit Picks makes another one. I think it's kind of like Wonder Fluff is what I think Knit Picks makes. This is their Oceana yarn. It's worsted weight, and this is the color Lanternfish. So what I really, really like about this yarn specifically is that it kind of has this green base, but it's got this black halo. I've picked out a project for this as well. I have a project quantity of this yarn. I want to make like a wrap kind of shawl, scarf, sweater thing from it. So I am excited for this project, probably not as excited as some of my other ones, but I do have this in a nice big project quantity. All right, so I want to go over all of my sock sets that I've purchased. I went through a phase of my knitting, or I should say my yarn buying, where I really loved sock sets and I'd never made socks. And more recently, I just made my very first pair of socks and I was like, wow, this is so easy. Like, why was I dreading sock knitting for so long? And so now I feel like I can finally dive into these sock sets. One I've already kind of started winding. I have 7 sock sets, which is a lot for someone who had never knit socks before, but now I have. So now there's no barrier to me getting through this yarn. So I'll start with this one from Explorer Knits and Fibers. So this is the set. This was from her release of Akatar themed yarns. So this color is Court of Dreams. And let's see, this green is To the Stars Who Listen. So that will be a cute pair of socks. Now, the next one is from Dragon Horde Yarn. This is kind of like a fall themed colorway. I like that it comes with 3 colors. It's got this like rich copper and then like a brown and just an ivory. And it's this tweed yarn. And this is the Fox Demon sock set. So I have to pick out a pattern, but that is that set. I guess since I'm talking about Dragon Horde Yarn, I'll go through the other 2 that I have from Dragon Horde Yarn. So we have this color. I think I bought all of these in the fall, so they're kind of these fall colorways. We've got this rich purple, this orange, and then this kind of, it's just got a bunch of different colors in this set. And let's see, this is colorway Chocolate Oranges, but that might just be the main color. But maybe that's the group name. Either way, fun colors. I think like some Halloween socks would be really cool from this. And then this one was more of a Christmas themed set. So we've got a burgundy color, kind of like the steel blue gray, and this has some reds and greens in here. This color is Rudolph, and I don't know if that's the sock set name or if that is the main colorway name, but this would be fun for some more like holiday themed socks. I think the rest was also kind of holiday themed. That's when I tend to get really inspired by sock sets. But we have this colorway, which is a Christmas colorway. It is Noel, and it is from Bella Bellato Studio Fibers. So we've got, it's just, I don't know, this one's really colorful. It just reminds me of like candy kind of, and then this rich purple. And then this colorway also from Bella Bellato Studio is Bah Humbug. So again, another kind of Christmas themed one. We've got this green and then this greenish purple combo. The last sock set I have is from Coast to Coast Yarn. And this name is Merry and Bright. So clearly a lot of Christmas themes here. I get a rich red. As you can tell, I really like rich colors. I'm not a big neutral person, but yeah, red and then this purple. It's got some browns in there, and then it's kind of got this lighter lavender base. And that is all my sock sets. I have another yarn from Dragon Horde Yarn. I actually really like the colorways that she does. I just love some fantasy inspired colors and yarns. I have a sweater quantity of this. I got it originally to make a fingering weight sweater, but I don't know. I was just gonna use this, but I do think I'm gonna hold it with mohair. So I wanna find some mohair that works well with this color. It's purple, which is one of my favorite colors. It's like a purple and pink. The colorway is Knit Witch, and I do want to make a sweater from this. Also from Dragon Horde Yarn, I have this. I've already wound it. This amount of yarn, I got it to make a beanie. I actually have the pattern all picked out and everything. And this, I think it's like pumpkin spice or something. Oh, it's Slutty Pumpkin is the color, which I think is even better. I might have actually bought this for the color name, but I do think that would make a really cute cable kind of autumn beanie situation. I have 2 skeins of this Denali sock from Explorer Knits and Fibers. So I do tend to like Explorer Knits and Fibers. They're also in Colorado, which like me. And this colorway is In My Neon Era. Now I only have these 2, so not quite a sweater quantity of yarn. I did get it to do color work in a sweater. So that was my intention for this. And again, I love pink, like this beautiful hot pink. I just think it's gonna make a really fun addition or kind of like accent color in a sweater. I have a lot of this yarn. This is from Green Mountain Spinnery. It is their mountain mohair. It's a worsted weight yarn. I kind of want to make a pullover with it, and the color is claret. I'm sure I'm pronouncing some of these wrong, but either way, this is a worsted weight, but it's their mountain mohair, so it has this, I don't know, kind of like a halo texture. Sorry, my camera battery died, so I just stuck in a new battery, but this mountain mohair is a worsted weight yarn. It is 70% wool and 30% mohair. It does kind of have a halo effect to it, even though it's not like just that strict, thin, kind of lace weight mohair. So let's see if it'll... And it is a pretty wine red color, which tends to be one of my favorite colors. I do want to make a pullover from this, and I have a lot of it. I think I might have like 10 or 11, so I probably have 1,400 yards-ish. So I have a project in mind, and I think it'll be a great fall pullover. So these next two are yarns I actually thrifted. So the first one is this eggplant color. It is a lace weight yarn. So it's 90% merino, 10% nylon, and it's from Hazel Knits. And let's see, this is 1,200 yards, and I got 2 of them. So I have plenty of this to make something, which is why I got it, and I like the color. And then I have 3 of these. So these are 100 yards each, or 100 meters each. So I have 300 meters, and this is, if you recognize it, it's Noro yarns. I love Noro yarns. That hot pink yarn that I showed previously was also Noro yarns. This is 45% silk, 45% kid mohair, 10% lamb's wool. So I just want to find a project that I guess would work well with this and only requires, 300 meters. But the color was just so pretty. I felt like, I couldn't say no. So this next one is Barocco Summer Sesame, and the color, I think it's Solar, I'm pretty sure is the color. 5262, but I'm fairly certain the name of this color is Solar. It's a self-striping yarn, which I actually did not know when I bought it. So now I've been trying to find the correct pattern for it. I have a pattern in mind now, but it's 47% cotton, 44% acrylic, and 9% nylon. I believe this is a worsted weight. So now that I have a project in mind, I do think this would be a fun summer top. And if the top doesn't work out, then I have a bag in mind that I think would also be pretty cool. These two I got at Joann's before they closed, RIP. I have a lot, actually. I don't know quite how many, maybe like 8 or 9 of these, of this DIY Glow Cozy from Lion Brand. This glows in the dark, which I think is really cool. I am using it right now for an accent on a sweater. I think making some like music festival or rave outfits out of this would be really cool. And this is 100% polyester. It's machine washable and dryable. So like I said, I think it would be good for like a rave, or like, I don't know, like a mesh top would be really cool. And then I got this because I'm obsessed with neon colors. This is Big Twist. It is faux fur. And I also have a lot of this. I started trying to unwind it because I think it's triple. I think it's like 3 things here. I started trying to unwind some, and that was a bad experiment. So I might have lost a skein of that in the process. But once I figure out what to use this for, it will be very cool. I'm pretty sure. So that really gets us through the most recent yarn purchases I've made. And when I say recent, I do mean like in the last 2 years. So since I've moved to Colorado, that's the yarn that I have kind of purchased that I would say fits my personal style the most. So everything we go into from here on out is going to be a little bit older. And by older, I mean I just got it when I started knitting. So closer to 2020 or 2021. So this one, I love this brand. It's just a little expensive, but this is from Loopy Mango. They make really, really soft yarn. And this is the mohair So Soft, 47% super kid mohair, 53% extra fine merino. Color is like a virgin, 65 yards in each of these, and I got enough to make a cardigan. I did go back and look at the project, and I do think I might go a different direction, but kind of stick with the same idea of like a loose knit, more chunky cardigan. So these are some smaller quantities I have of DK and worsted weight yarn. So the first one is from Coast to Coast Yarn Company, and this is a worsted weight. I have 2 of these. It's 100% superwash wool, so about in total I have about 430 yards. Now, when I bought this, I was just looking at yarn weights. I wasn't really looking at yarn content. So I originally purchased it to make like a crop top, and I was like, yeah, I'll wear it in the summer. Now, knowing what I know about knitting, that is probably not the best idea. So I imagine that I will use this more for, I don't know, maybe like an accent color in a sweater or something else, but I don't think I'm going to use it for what I originally intended it for. This is the color Crater Lake. So just a pretty blue color. This is from Big Little Yarn Company, and this color is Bramble. This is 100% superwash merino. It is a DK weight. I have, let's see, 300 meters. So I have 2 of these. So I actually have 600 meters. That's a usable amount of yarn. Got to figure out what I'm going to use it for. But kind of same as this last one, I thought I kind of knew what I was going to make with it. And now knowing what I know about merino, I'm like, this is probably not the best idea to make this. This is more of a reddish brown color. It's definitely brown, but it's kind of a reddish brown. But I don't know, I'll figure out something with that. And then I have 3 of these. This color is Timber. This is also from Explore Knits and Fibers. It is Rocky's DK is the type of yarn, 100% superwash merino, 274 yards in each of these, and I have 3. So what is that? 600, probably about 700-ish yards. But it's like a pretty like steel gray. I'm sure I could find something to make with this amount of yarn. It's just not going to be, like I said, I got all this stuff and I was like, oh, cool, I'll make like a crop top. And now I'm like, well, I probably want to make that crop top with something like silk or cotton or linen, not wool. So I have a lot of these. I'm not sure how many I have, at least 10. And this is from Darn Good Yarn. It's a lace weight silk yarn in the color Vibrant Peacock. And I've already used it to make a kind of a mesh skirt. And I wanted to make a matching top that's in progress somewhere in this apartment. And I know I'm going to have extra. I believe it's 100% silk. So I do think this would make, I don't know, it'd make a cool summer top, and I'll definitely have enough to make something with it. So I do like the colors, blues, purples, greens, and this could definitely turn into something cool. I am quickly finding out that I probably have enough yarn to last me for like the next couple of years. So good thing I'm on a yarn buying ban because I just can't add to this. It's stressing me out. So I have, I think 7 or 8 of these. This is Lion Brand's Wool Ease Thick and Quick, and the color is Raisin. So I got this to make a Halloween sweater. I might change my mind. I don't know. I definitely have enough to make like a sweater, but we'll see what I end up making with this. I don't think I wanted to do like a chunky kind of colorwork type sweater. I think it had moons and cats on it when I saw it, and I was like, that's really cool. But I don't know if that's what I want to make anymore, but I still do like this purple. It is one of my preferred kind of colorways, so I'll definitely find something to make with this yarn. I think I have 3 of these, but I only pulled 2 out of my bag. This is Malabrigo. It is Cloudborn and Malabrigo. Merino Superwash Sock hand-dyed yarn in the color Pearl 10. And let's see, it's fingering weight, 467 yards per skein. I'm pretty sure I have 3 of these, but like I said, I only pulled out 2. It's kind of like a navy-ish blue color. I had a project in mind. I don't think that's gonna be what I end up making with this, but we will cross that bridge when we get there. All right, we are getting towards the end of my stash. So this doesn't even cover the kind of odds and ends from various projects, which I'll have to figure out something else for. So really we're talking like project quantities of yarn. So I have this Billie Jean yarn from Wool and the Gang in the colors Dirty Denim and Indigo Denim. So I did find a bag pattern that I was thinking of using with the Summer Sesame yarn, but if the Summer Sesame yarn works for the top I want to use it for, I do think this would make a cute summer bag. And since it is denim, it's made from recycled denim, I think this would be a good yarn for that project. And I'm pretty sure I'll have some left over. I think this would make a cute summer top. So I'll kind of start perusing some patterns. There's 148 yards in each of these. I want to say I have 3 and 3. And let's see. It's 60% upcycled denim. Oh, this one is 60% upcycled denim and 40% upcycled cotton. And this one is 56% upcycled jersey, and 14% upcycled denim, and 30% raw cotton. So they actually have different mixes, which is interesting. I did not know that. I have a bunch of this yarn. This is Wool and the Gang Al Pacino Merino. And I have it in 2 colors, Midnight Blue, and I think this one's like oatmeal or something, Sahara Dust. And I have a cardigan, colorwork cardigan in the works for this. I've knit all of 2 rows for it, but I'm pretty sure it'll be cute when I'm done. I do have a lot of petite wool from We Are Knitters. I feel like that was kind of the brand that got me into knitting, and so I ordered a lot of my yarn from them when I started. I have a ton of the petite wool, which is 100% wool, in the natural colorway. Does it have the color on here? I'm pretty sure it's just natural if you go on the website. So it's just like an ivory white, and it's a bulky weight yarn. There's so many patterns that this works for. I do want to pick a pattern that has a little more, like, I don't know, maybe like a cable design or something to it, because this is such a plain color and it'll be a basic. I still want it to be a sweater that I'm going to pick up and wear and I like. So that's probably what I'll make from this. I have a ton of stuff coming off it. I actually have lavender and cedar bags in my yarn stash. It's like a natural moth prevention. So that's what's coming off this yarn ball right now. But yeah, that's what I think I'm gonna make from this. And because it's this natural colored yarn, I'm not as concerned if I like run out. I could always get more of like a natural colored yarn. That's not too hard to find. I was gonna make a pattern with it from We Are Knitters, but as you start knitting more and more, I think you find more patterns that you like more. So that's why I'm going to pivot and make something different with this. My black tank top is just covered in like fiber now, and I just feel like I keep brushing it off. I think I have 4 of these. This is from Knit Collage. This is their spun cloud yarn. I think the color is graphite, but I've used this yarn before. I really like it. I made a cardigan with it, and it's actually too small now that, you know, I've gotten all my gains. It just doesn't fit my shoulders and arms anymore. So I might actually end up frogging that cardigan, and since I have other bits of it, I just might make something else. Maybe I'll make a bigger size or just a bigger cardigan in general. And yes, the color is graphite. This is a bulky weight yarn. I think it's a super bulky weight yarn. And there's about 100 yards per skein. So 4, I could probably make a scarf, but if I did end up frogging my other project, I could definitely make a bigger project with it. All right, my last bit of yarn from my stash. I got this to make a project for a music festival a couple of years ago, and I didn't end up finishing in time, which is the crafter's curse, my curse at least. And I got it in pink and blue. And I was knitting with these 2 things held together, and it kind of looked purple when I finished it, but I have a ton of this. And I definitely could still finish the project. Let's see. I think this was the top. It's really small. I think it was supposed to be a shrug. So like it would fit over the top of my bra. But when you have these 2 colors together, it looks kind of purple because I intended to make it cropped, but it didn't quite turn out the way I wanted to. So, you know, I might just frog this project and add it back to my knitting queue because it did turn out pretty cute. And it's like, I thought it'd be itchy. It's actually not that itchy. But yeah, I might just frog this back and start again. I think this is the Look at My Holes crop. And I can see that I did not finish the sleeves. That makes sense given who I am as a person. But it is cute. So I do think maybe I'll give this another go and start again. And I definitely have enough yarn in here to make a top. And who knows, I might even have enough yarn to make a matching set, which I think was my intention when I started this. But that's it. I feel like this is a really good exercise for me because now I am going to have to clean back up my yarn stash, reorganize. I might get out some of my space bags that I have somewhere in this apartment and kind of organize them by yarn and project. I think that's going to help me feel a little more just organized in general. And then I have so much, I shouldn't say so much, but I did have a lot of yarn sitting in my apartment that wasn't necessarily like my next project. So I think I could organize it by project and be like, okay, I'm gonna make this one next, this one next. Obviously I can change the order, but if I make kind of the grab bags easy to go, then it'll be easier when I actually get inspired to make something. So that's everything that's in my stash with the exception of scrap yarns. Maybe I'll do another video on that soon, but I know this is getting long. And I don't know if anything in my stash like inspired you or if you have any ideas for what I should knit, please let me know in the comments because I will say for some of these quantities I am coming up empty. But I'd love to hear what's in your stash or maybe how you're thinking about going through your stash busting and how your stash busting journey is going. Because now that I'm looking at all this yarn in front of me, I'm like, wow, I could knit for a very long time. And who knows, maybe I'll end up gifting some of these because they don't fit my personal style anymore. But I'm going to do another video on kind of what's in my project queue. I'll talk through those and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching.